Hey, what is up YouTube? This is the Mermail Master coming at you guys from the Team Time Riders Yugioh channel today with another video. Sorry for the brief absence that we've had recently. Just a lot of things have come up. I've been busy, but now I'm finally back again with another deck profile for you guys. In today's deck profile, I have something pretty crazy for you. It's a deck I actually took to locals last weekend. I came in 7th place. But this deck is a Monster Mash version of Nimble Legendary Fisherman OTK, based on the Nimble deck profile that I showed you guys last year. I recently picked up these beautiful first edition, near mint condition Legendary Fisherman here, and I really wanted to put these guys in a deck as fast as I possibly could. And I said, what better possible deck should they go in than a Nimble deck, which I had around. I know a lot of people like running them in the Legendary Ocean deck. That's also really good, but I thought I'd put a little twist on it. Got a nice full extra deck here as well. So without further ado, guys, let's get into the deck profile. I'm going to start off by showcasing to you the main cards in the deck. And those are going to be the Nimbles. We're going to leave the Legendary Fisherman off to the side for a little bit, and we're going to get back to them at a little bit of a later time. So to start things off, guys, right now we first are going to start off with our Nimble engine. If you guys have seen the brand new card that came out of Circuit Break, I've also included it in this deck as well. Well, the first thing we're going to start out with is 3 copies of Nimble Angler, 3 copies of Nimble Manta, 3 copies of Nimble Sunfish as your 3 main Nimbles, and finally 3 copies of Nimble Beaver. Nimble Beaver is the brand new Nimble in the deck, so this is a total of 4 Nimbles that we're running, and the reason that I put these guys all out at once is because they all have similar effects. They're all level 2 water type monsters that help you to swarm the field with different cards. Most recently, the Nimble Beaver is a beast type monster, so he kind of ties together the Nimble Beast parts with like Momonga and Musasabi and Super Nimble Mega Hamster with the Nimble Water part of the archetype. So he's really, really good card. So I'll explain what he does first. I'll go through each of these guys so you can get sort of an idea of how the Nimble archetype works and why it's effective at really, helping the tribute summon and stuff out. So Nimble Beaver, when he's summoned to the field, he can allow you to grab any level 3 or lower Nimble monster from your deck or your graveyard and special summon it to the field. Now, he is a 1-card rank 4 in that respect because you can just summon him out, or rank 2, you can just summon him out, grab any Nimble. I usually like to grab like a Nimble Manta or a Nimble Sunfish or something like that, and instantly you've got a rank 2 play right there. So it really helps to move the strategy forward. Next card, of course, that I want to discuss is going to be probably it's best to discuss the Nimble Manta. So Nimble Manta is probably the most useless Nimble out of all of these. He doesn't really start any plays, but his effect is that when he's destroyed by card effect, I believe it's a card effect that when it's sent from the field to the graveyard by a card effect, however that may be, not by like tributing him or using him as some kind of cost, but he can special summon 2 more copies of himself from the deck. So very, very good in the right scenarios, but the least useful of all of the Nimbles. He's just pretty much fodder. One of the most useful Nimble monsters out here is Nimble Angler. Nimble Angler is probably the best Nimble. This guy is what turned Nimbles from just a rando deck into the powerhouse kind of spammy board strategy that we know. This guy came out in Abyss Rising very, very long time ago. These guys are from a variety of different sets. Each one of them's from a different set for spaced out several different years in Yu-Gi-Oh! Starting all the way back to Magic Ruler to now in Circuit Break. Nimble Angler, when he's sent from the deck or your hand to the graveyard, keep in mind also not the field, when he's sent from deck or hand to the graveyard by any means necessary, he can special summon any 2 other Nimble monsters from your deck to the field. And this is really, really awesome. Whether you send him by, you know, a Foolish Burial or a Swap Frog or any other kind of effect, Nimble Angler really, you know, just allows you to spam things on the board, and that's awesome for the tributes for your Legendary Fisherman. Nimble Angler is an awesome card. And the final card that I want to discuss with you guys here is the good old Nimble Sunfish. He's probably the most expensive Nimble in the deck on account of the fact that he's the only copy of the card that's super rare, and he's never been reprinted since his first printing in Shining Darkness. Nimble Sunfish is basically the battle destroyer. When he's destroyed by battle, you can send one water monster from your deck to the graveyard, and then special summon another copy of Sunfish from your deck. So the idea is that, you know, if you want to spam or if you want to run in, he's got that nice 1,000 attack. If he's destroyed to the graveyard, the idea is that you then pitch an Angler from your deck to the graveyard when he's destroyed, special summon a Sunfish, and then Angler summons 2 more. So it's not as fast as it was in the past, but people still like Sunfish as a way to keep the engine moving forward very fast. So that's it for the Nimbles, guys. Moving on to the next portion of the deck, we have the Frogs. The Frogs, of course, help you out with those Nimbles. We have 3 copies of Swap Frog, 2 copies of Ronin Totem, and 1 copy of Dew Frog. If you don't know what the Frogs do already, you should. Basically, Swap Frog allows you to ditch any other water monster from your grave, including that from your hand to the grave, including the Angler special summon himself. And when he's special summoned, you can send a level 2 Aqua from your deck to your grave. Usually either one of these 2, depending on which you have already. These guys are great. You can go into Totally Awesome. Just facilitate a ton of different plays. And Ronin Totem can keep special summoning itself back as long as you've got materials in your graveyard for continued access to the XYZ monsters. All right, so now here is where we're going to get into some of the last portion of the deck here. We have 3 copies of Super Ancient Deep Sea King Coelacanth. This card is a card that not a lot of people have run in a very long time. Coelacanth was a big part of that Fish OTK deck that came out many years ago. But you ditch any one card from your hand to your graveyard and special summon as many fish-type monsters from your deck as you possibly can. You know, however many spaces you have on the field to do so. And then the idea is that you special summon massive things. So you, like, one of the big cards that you can special summon off of that play is your 3 copies of Royal Swamp Eel, who is a level 4 tuner, one of the only ones in the game. So you use Swamp Eel along with Deep Sea King Coelacanth to go into XYZs, to go into synchro plays, and Coelacanth also has the ability that whenever that it would be targeted, since he's a 2800 attack monster, so you know you figure your opponent's not going to try to destroy him by battle unless they really have to. So they're going to try to target him with card effects. Whenever that happens, you can just tribute any fish you control, and that effect instantly gets nullified. But you know, these guys' effects get negated. They can't attack, but you know, you have a ton of options. You can go in for synchros. You can go for XYZs. You can go for link monsters. Basically, Coelacanth just helps you spam the board with a crap ton of stuff. And the Frogs and the Nimbles help facilitate you getting the materials on the field to make sure you can get Coelacanth out. So that's it for the Coelacanth engine. And now we are going to finally get into one last card here. We got that Metabo Shark. Metabo Shark is just the last of the fish cards that I'm going to discuss, because he's just really good for, you know, if you summon him, he'll shuffle back 2 of your water monsters from the grave back into the deck, and it's surprising how useful that play can be. He's also a non-tuner level 4 that can be special summoned off of Coelacanth, and all of that allows you to go for a level 8 monster. Go for an Omega, go for something else, banish that, and continue to move your plays forward. All right, now we are going to move on to the main sort of event here, the cards that you guys have been waiting for. Those are the Legendary Fishermen. Now, for those who you do not know, the Legendary Fishermen got brand new support in, they got 2 sets of new support. They got the Legendary Fisherman 3 in Dimension of Chaos, and they most recently got the Legendary Fisherman 2 from the brand new set, Legend Duelist. So first starting off, we have Legendary Fisherman 1. As I mentioned, I really Love my first edition copies of this card. Legendary Fisherman 1's effect states that when you have Umi, or any card that counts as Umi, in its name on your side of the field, this card cannot be attacked by your opponent's monsters and is unaffected by the effects of spell cards. It does say magic cards on there, if I can zoom in slightly to show that. But yeah, basically it's unaffected by spell cards and cannot be attacked. So it was one of the very first cards that had that kind of ability, which is super, super cool for like stalling against your opponent. If you got this guy out and you got your Umi equivalent card, Legendary Fisherman can put in some real work. So I really, really like the card. It's actually a lot better than you'd expect. Next card we have in the deck is 3 copies here of the Legendary Fisherman 2. This is the newest card of the support, and he bridges the gap from 1 and 3. And unlike Legendary Fisherman, he gives you the ability when an Umi equivalent is face up on the field. He is unaffected by other monsters' effects. And then if he's destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, and that is, of course, while the owner still controls it, it's really, really important. So if you do a creature swap or anything like that, this card's effect will not trigger. You can add any level 7 water type monster from your deck to your hand. And not only does that factor into your Legendary Fisherman 3, but you can also use this effect to directly search Coelacanth straight from your deck to your hand, which you could not do in the past, and you can do now, which is absolutely amazing. You run Coelacanth in here at 3, primarily because you didn't have a way to search it before, but now Legendary Fisherman 2 gives you that opportunity and that out. So, very, very sweet card. And the final card, of course, we're running is the eponymously and aptly named Legendary Fisherman number 3. Legendary Fisherman number 3, I think, is honestly one of the best cards ever printed, effect-wise. Yes, he has a very restrictive archetype and a very restrictive summoning requirement, but when you get this guy to the field, just all hell will break loose against your opponent. It's just an incredible card. Like, a card has no business having this kind of effect, and if it was any more generic, even if it's just slightly, like, it would be banned very, very easily. Basically, you can special summon this card by attributing a Legendary Fisherman on your side of the field. Legendary Fisherman 2 does count as the Legendary Fisherman on the field, so you can use that ability as well. And the ability of Legendary Fisherman 2 also is an if, so when you tribute, it will not miss timing. And then, so basically, when it's special summoned to the field, you can banish all monsters your opponent controls, and it doesn't matter whether they're normal or special summoned. You can banish everything that they control, and then just basically, like, the only thing that you have to give up is that this card cannot attack. And then when you would deal damage that turn, you can take everything that you banish, send it back to the graveyard, and the first damage you deal for the turn is doubled. Some of your monsters can get into really, really big attack power. There's no restrictions on any more special summoning, so if you use this guy's effect, you can go for a Synchro, XYZ, even a Link monster. Any first damage that you deal for that turn gets that done. And then he also has the ability that he cannot be destroyed by battle, and is also unaffected by your opponent's spells and trap monsters, or your opponent's spells and trap effects. So just an incredible, incredible card. Just a variety of different things that you can do with this card, like battle card effect destruction, banishing everything that your opponent controls, being unaffected by spell and trap card effects, and just like helping you to double damage and push for even more game-breaking plays. So super, super good card. I just felt like we needed to devote a lot of time to it. Last 2 cards we're running in the deck for monsters. We've got 2 Exodius, the Ultimate Forbidden Lord. Such a good card. Such a good card. Love this card. Shuffles back all your monsters into the deck and is a free level 10, which you'll see will come in handy very, very soon. And we only have 6 it is, spell cards. As I mentioned, this is a Monster Mash deck. We got 3 Lemuria the Forgotten City. Really great card. You can all your monsters, all water monsters on the field get plus 200 attack. Its name is treated as Yumi, so it works with the legendary Fisherman. And you can make all water monsters on the field gain levels equal to the number of water monsters you control. So a lot of times you'll have a field with 2 Nimbles. So if you send Angler to the graveyard, you get 2 Nimbles out onto the field, activate the effect of Lemuria, those monsters go up to level 4, you got a rank 4. It basically expands greatly the XYZs and Synchros that you can summon, and just allows you to go for some crazy, crazy stuff. And you'll see a lot of mainstays from the old XYZ era in here, as that was the time. That was pretty much my heyday playing in that era. So very, very cool. Next, we have a single copy of Monarch Storm 4th. Wish we could run more, but you know what? Whatever. Really, really great for getting your legendary Fisherman, getting some other plays off like that. 1 copy of Foolish Burial, self-explanatory, ditch your Nimbles, and finally a single copy of Salvage to fetch back any of your low-level water monsters. So that is going to be it for the deck, guys. That is 40 cards. Now moving on to the extra deck. I'm going to start things off with the links here. We're running a very, very light link engine. We have 2 Mastar Boy, or Mistar Boy as he's called. Basically just in here because he's a water link with good arrows and gives all of your water monsters plus 500 attack. That plus the Lemuria is a plus 700 boost. And when he goes to the graveyard, you can just fetch any water monster from your grave back to your hand. Very, very useful card. Then we have, of course, the 1 Decode Talker. This is a link deck. You got to have Decode Talker in here. Just a very, very good card. One of the best links in the game. Now, moving on to the XYZ monsters. So for XYZs, I run a variety of different cards in here. And we're going to start out our little strategy here with, as I mentioned, the aforementioned rank 4s. We got Baguska, the Terribly Tired Taper, brand new from the Circuit Break set, but you can basically just use Baguska as a stall material, and he's just really good against a lot of decks. So very, very good card. You'll want to summon him in defense position all the time. Next card we have in the deck is 1 copy of Castel. Castel is also another great rank 4 that you can go for to get rid of problem things. On the same note of that is going to be 1 copy of Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is pretty much exactly who he purports to be. Just a really great card at shutting down your opponent's graveyard, which can come into very, very big handy, especially for certain effects that activate in there, such as your aforementioned spiral spells and traps. Those things cannot activate. Now, the final rank 4s that we're running in the deck is the Utopia package with Utopia and Lightning. 2 very great cards, pretty self-explanatory. Now, moving on to the rest of our XYZ monsters. We have, for our higher level stuff here, 1 copy of Shark Fortress and 1 copy of Gauntlet Launcher. These guys were old mainstays from way, way back in the day, and I'm bringing them back out specifically for this. Gauntlet Launcher and Shark Fortress both do very good things for the deck. Gauntlet Launcher is a twice per turn pop on the field, and Shark Fortress is a twice per turn attack for any single one of the monsters you control. And if you combine Shark Fortress together with your legendary Fisherman 3, the first damage that you deal that turn is double. So if you choose Shark Fortress on himself, he goes from 24 to 48 on the first attack, and then you get another 2400 attack from there. So it's basically like you're triple dinking. You get 3 for the price of 2, which is not bad at all. So just very, very good utility right there. And thanks to Lemuria, you can go into those guys. Now, the final XYZs that we're going to be running are the following. We have 2 totally awesome. You got the frogs in here. You got the level 2 aqua type monsters. Why the heck not? Gotta go for this card. Totally Awesome is a totally awesome card. Pretty self-explanatory. Just helps you out of a variety of different situations. And the final level 2 we've got is 1 copy of Cat Shark. Got the Euro print of this card, so very, very excited about that. Cat Shark just basically will double any XYZ monster that you control. That you can get things up to like insane attack power with this guy, and just yeah, it's just a really good card for like doubling attack power. And then the final card that we have in the deck for the XYZ monsters is my favorite Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. This is one of my favorite XYZs in the entire game, and I have not gotten to put this in like nearly anything. I was very, very excited to have this card in my deck for years, but a lot of people are taking it out in favor of Superior Dora. This guy can put like amazing amounts of damage on the during the end, and is just such a good card. Really, really like this card. I would collect these, except nobody really has the jump versions anymore. So, man can dream, but we'll still be looking no matter what. And now we have, for our final two monsters in the deck, two Synchro monsters. Since we do run those Royal Swamp Eels, I do want to note before I show you guys these cards, you can run anything that you want for a Synchro monster. Basically, it is entirely up to you how you want to play this deck. And don't let anyone tell you anything differently, because you can run whatever XYZs, whatever Synchros. You can go into so many different things. If you got some old favorites from back in the day, you have some cards that you really, really like, you can absolutely run them in the card. So I'll show you the two monsters that I'm going for here. And that is one copy of White Aura Whale and one copy of Psyframe Lord Omega. White Aura Whale is in here because he matches perfectly with the strategy of being an all-water monster deck. And White Aura Whale's effect to just basically be a thing that pops all the, just kind of like that the Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, or the the guy who a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend who pops all the attack position monsters, and then he's a BLS against defense position monsters, kind of like Twin Breaker. He's the ultimate kind of Jack Atlas card, a combination of so many of those different cards coming together. Just crystallize into a card that can put a lot of damage on board against your opponent. And in this water deck, White Aura Whale just fits right in. And finally, Psyframe Lord Omega. The reason Psyframe Lord Omega is in here is because of his ability to banish himself. He's just a really good level 8 altogether. There's no restrictions on summoning him off of Royal Swamp Eel, but you just utilize him if you summon 4 level 4s or whatever it is. You want to utilize this, summon this guy, banish him for his effect, and then the zone instantly opens up. And when he comes back, you just continue to banish him and continue to put more plays on board. So incredible, incredible card. Absolutely got to run Omega in here. One of these days I'll get my high-speed riders version again, but who knows. But anyway, guys, this has been the Nimble Monster Mash Legendary Fisherman Coelacanth OTK deck. Yeah, so pretty much everything that needs to be said has already been said. It's a crazy strategy. I got 7th place with it. Just try it out, see what you think. It's not competitive by any means, but you might be surprised at what it may be able to do. I'll hopefully be having more deck profiles for you guys very, very soon for a lot of different decks. We got some good stuff planned for the Christmas holidays, guys, so keep your ears tuned and your eyes peeled for all of that coming in the future. But thank you guys so much for watching the video. This has been the Mermail Master with the Team Time Riders Yugi Tube channel, and I'm signing out. Catch you guys next time. Peace.